you. Thank you. I'm David McNulty, certified kitchen designer, interior designer of McNulty Design Group in Park Ridge and Glencoe. We have 2 showrooms. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our presentation tonight, and happy Earth Day to you all.
Absolutely.
Now, I know every one of you did a little bit of something for Earth Day today, right? Something to save our planet? Good, good. I did too. This morning, I decided that I wasn't going to go to the bathroom but twice today. I walked and ran to work, back and forth to work, and didn't take a shower. No,
that's why I'm standing over
here.
here.
I'm just kidding. That's not what I did. What I did this morning in lieu of that was I decided to read the newspaper instead of watching the news. I decided to take a 5-minute shower instead of a long shower. I have a shower timer in my shower. And I decided to carpool to work today to save a little gasoline. So it's amazing how the little things that you can do have such a tremendous impact on the planet's health. What we're going to talk about today, I'm going to go back and forth. I'm kind of standing in front of our slides. What we're going to talk about today are not only the problems that exist in the world today, but we're going to talk about solutions. And that's the key. So a lot of people are confused. What does green mean? Well, green is basically products and materials that we can use and purchase and build to create homes and buildings that don't emit gases and that are environmentally friendly, using sustainable products, readily renewable products, recycled products, etc. One of the problems is that, believe it or not, some of the most challenging things that we run into today is that the electrical use that America is so in love with creates an incredible amount of greenhouse gas emissions and carbon dioxide in our air. So some of the other things that you can pay attention to here is that the United States, which is actually number 3, and I'll show you a chart in just a second, is that we use quite a bit of electrical energy. We love electricity. I mean, just go to Best Buy, go to Circuit City, take a look at the lines. The people are iPods. You can go into any kind of computer store and people are buying computers up left and right. Well, that means that we have to use a lot of electricity for all of these machines. 30% of greenhouse gas emissions, 30% of raw materials used, 30% of waste output. That is absolutely insane. 136 million tons annually, and that's probably gone up since we started our presentation here. A typical 1,700 square foot frame house uses an entire acre of forest. So we've got to change things. United Arab Emirates is number 1 in the amount of, I should say, the amount of, I can't remember what I was trying to say. Hectares per person. First of all, hectares per person is the amount of forestry that is being mined in order to, Scott, help me out with this.
It adds to your carbon footprint, the amount of forestry that is taken down to build their homes. And as you can see in the United Arab Emirates and Kuwait, which is surprising, but they're building so much over there right now. You've seen all these huge buildings they're building. They're taking an immense amount of energy to produce these. They're taking an immense amount of natural resources to produce them. And there's no watching over how the environment is being affected by that. As you can see, the carbon footprint. We want to be a small carbon footprint, as David will go on and show you that. For example, Denmark and Greece, very, very aware of a carbon footprint. And they've just been that way over the many, many years is because they use and reuse natural resources. They recycle. They use, they don't have all foam. You go to Denmark, they're not using, it's funny, but they'll have wood cups. They use a lot of wood there. And they reuse it and reuse it and reuse it. They don't just throw it in the trash. I call it the McDonald's syndrome. So, David, you can go on through that.
Thank you. So why go green? Environmental benefits to enhance and protect ecosystems, reduce solid waste, improve air quality, water quality, and conserve natural resources. Economic benefits to reduce operating costs, improve employee productivity, enhance asset value and profits, optimize life cycle economic performance. The other economic benefits of going green is the amount of energy savings that you actually have in your home. The amount of electricity you use is less. The amount of water you use would be less. And the amount of gas that you're going to use is less. So this all adds up to savings, considering now with the gas prices skyrocketing the way they are. And of course, there's health benefits. A lot of products were manufactured with high VOCs or high formaldehyde. And all of these types of outgassing from these products is very poor for our health. So there are manufacturers today that are creating products that don't have this formaldehyde in it and that are low VOCs, low VOC paints and varnishes and finishes, not only for the cabinetry, but for the flooring and for the walls and for insulation. We'll see that in just a little bit. More reasons why to go green, because obviously the CO2 in our planet has skyrocketed over, and just in the last 50, 60 years, you can see how much it grows, and it's not changing. Here's a chart of the global temperatures that have happened over the last couple of decades. You can see that that's not changing much either. So by not only our country, but other countries, if we can really pay attention to the things that we use and reducing our CO2 carbon footprint, I think that's really going to be critical over the long haul. So, how green works. There's a lot of definitions for green. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring all of these up, and because a lot of people don't understand what is green, what does it actually mean? Resource efficiency, sustainability, energy efficiency, water efficiency, and indoor environmental quality. Starting with resource efficiency, we need to optimize our materials. We need to reuse our recyclables. We need to, I mean, when we do remodeling, we have these dumpsters full of lumber and glass and ceramics and materials that could actually be taken back to a recycling facility, crushed up and reproduced and reused in products so that we can avoid the landfill.
As David was talking about, use recycled materials, deconstruction versus demolition. Today, we don't just demolish things. And there are some instances where you might be doing work on your own home. As David just touched on, many of the dumpsters that you see on job sites, they used to just go, they'd load them, and they'd take them out to a landfill, and we keep filling these landfills. Well, we use a company that recycles 77% of what they bring out. You don't have to sort it. They sort it by hand. They take, some of the woods that are not usable to reuse as wood. They grind it up. They use it for pellets for stoves, which warm homes. All over the United States, a lot of people are using these pellet-driven stoves. They use it for power plants. They use it for industrial areas. They obviously recycle the glass, any precious metals. Metals today are absolutely through the sky. If you follow what China's doing with, I think they're building 102 new major airports in the next 12 or 15 years in China. So if you can imagine 102 O'Hare airports being built, and you understand why that, for one case, is the worst pollution in the world, because they're just going gangbusters over there and taking a lot of resources with no regard to what we are trying to do in our country. Sustainability, David will talk about that.
Yeah, the next item is sustainability, minimizing environmental impact and lower energy to process. So how much does a factory have to actually use in electricity to actually produce the product? That's an important factor. Other things too about product life expectancy or the quality or durability of the items that you purchase. A lot of people purchase that substandard products that go into their homes, and then within a few short years they're falling apart and they have to be replaced. So why don't we invest into products that we know are going to last? That way we don't have to replace them or throw them out as readily. I know a lot of products that are being made today with substandard wiring and circuitry and things like that, they're falling apart faster and faster every year. Appliances that used to last 35, 40 years are now falling apart in 5 to 10 years, and they're being replaced. So what do we do with that old material? So we need to start buying higher quality materials. Energy efficiency, solar water heating, passive cooling, minimizing your electricity use and gas consumption. Obviously, and there's a big problem with how much gas we use, how much electricity we use every single day. So by finding products that we can purchase that don't use as much electricity will help significantly reduce the carbon footprint in the world.
David,
water efficiency as well.
With the
Yes.
energy efficiency, I'll just touch is, appliances. When you look at appliances, David and I sell quite a few appliances through our business of remodeling and renovating in homes. And there are appliances that are vastly different in their cost. And I'll just pick on dishwashers for a minute. They've come a long, long way. Some of the dishwashers, you can go buy a dishwasher, I would say, for $300, and you can spend $1,800 to $2,000. All right? I can assure you, and David and I have proven this, that the one that you're spending more money on is going to last you a lot longer. Not only that, think about the water consumption. that gets used maybe every day in your house, maybe every few days if you have children, or twice a day if you have family over. Obviously, the more expensive ones are much, much quieter. They have electronic sensoring today where they understand how dirty your dishes are and how much water is needed to be heated on. It's no different than the washing machines that you buy. David and I try and say, you know, we're not trying to just sell more expensive equipment, but understand, even though those things can be recycled, a good majority of them, you have to take them out, you have to put them in, and there's man hours to do that. There's vehicles to deliver them back and forth. So some of these more expensive appliances, for example, there's a company called Sub-Zero out there. It's an expensive refrigeration unit. Has 2 compressors on it. They've proven in tests that your food, and we talk about food today, if any of you have gone to the grocery store, talk about green, we don't want to be throwing that away. We don't want to be throwing it in the compost. We don't want to be throwing it in the garbage. If you can get your refrigeration system that will allow your food to last 6 to 12 days longer in your refrigeration unit than a standardized unit, most of the standardized refrigerators have 1 compressor, blows cold air through your ice department, pushes it in your refrigerator. And that's not good for example, vegetables and lettuce and so on. And Sub-Zero's done scientific tests on it. There's a company called Peapod that David and I have talked about. They store huge quantities of vegetables and fruits. You think they want them to, you know, ripen fast and go away. They give off a gas. They understand what it is to keep this produce fresh, and they know how it is to keep it fresher. And there's simple ways of doing that with just simple filtration. Do you pay a little more for it? Yes. But think about a refrigeration unit that you might have for 15 or 20 years, as David said. And you're saving 15 or 20 years of, maybe you're throwing away $500 a year. Put that against the cost of another unit, and you might see that those costs go down. And I'll just touch on the SEER rating that we talk about, energy efficiency, as David talked. Those yellow stickers that you see on all the appliances, they have been tested. You want the most efficient appliance you can have. It's better for this country. It's better for your electric bills, your gas bills. We're very fortunate in Illinois to have natural gas, which is probably your least costly product that's on the marketplace. But they're all poised to go like this. You know, where gasoline for cars is like this, electric is going to probably go like this. So in the future, think about these things when you do make your purchases, because you may spend a little, as David said, a little more up front, but in the long run, you're going to spend less. Go ahead, Dave.
Water efficiency, low flow faucets. When we go through the presentation, we'll see some more slides on some of the things that Scott was just talking about. Low flow faucets, low flow irrigation system, and collecting and reusing your rainwater. Anything that we can do to reuse the water that comes from our water conditioning plants is real vital in energy uses, energy savings as well, because these plants don't have to use nearly as much energy to clean this water for us. And indoor environmental quality, where we were talking about the formaldehyde and the outgassing of products into our homes. So all of these 5 things make up green efficiency and basically define what green is. There are different levels of what green is. When you're studying things like LEED, you'll be reading a lot about a LEED agency, and you'll be reading about the NAHBs, and everybody has a point system. And these point systems are drawn from each one of these different categories.
Right. Right.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about kitchen and bath design. What can we do to improve our homes from the kitchen and bath side of it? Well, in essence, in wood, most plywoods were made with a lot of formaldehyde in it. So today, woods are being manufactured with little to no formaldehyde in it at all. So there's going to be very little outgassing. Same thing about FSC. FSC certified lumber, that's the Forestry Stewardship Council. And basically what that is that's a council that oversees the mining of forests throughout not only the United States, but nationally, internationally as well. So if you buy a product that has an FSC certification, you can be assured that that product is being, or that tree that's being cut down is being immediately replanted. And we'll show you some slides on that in just a second. Pure Bond, I was talking to you about, conversion varnish, which has low formaldehyde. It's not even reportable on the manufacturer's safety data sheets. VOC compliant, and manufacturers follow green practices in facility management as well. And what that means is that they're using less styrofoam and maybe more glass cups, and they're recycling their sawdust, and they're using that sawdust to heat their plants, and they're recycling the aluminum cans or the glass bottles that they're drinking their pop from, and they're making money back on that so that they can have their annual parties. So there's a lot of things that the manufacturers are doing from their end to keep their facility green as well. So the Forestry Stewardship Council basically oversees the forests that are being cut down. Environmentally appropriate, they're socially beneficial, and economically viable. You can read this at your leisure, and I can always send you a copy of this as well. But in essence, that's what the Forestry Stewardship Council is overseeing, and they're trying to protect the entire planet. So what is the importance of the Forestry Stewardship Council? Its mission is to promote environmentally appropriate and socially beneficial and viable management of the world's forests. We kind of went over that. Over the past 10 years, I think this is incredible, 80 million hectares, which is equal to 2.5 acres each hectare, in more than 70 countries have been certified according to FSC standards. Now this is really critical, and when you're purchasing things, you want to make sure that you're looking for FSC certification with those products. There's a lot of furniture products, furniture manufacturers out there, cabinetry manufacturers, any other type of lumber products that you're purchasing to build the homes with. If they're FSC certified, then you can be assured that that particular product is being mined from an area where plants or trees are being replanted. Here's some example of the deforestation rates in hectares in 2000 to 2005. You can see Brazil is the leader in that, and what's happening with the deforestation here. In the next slide I'll show you. And you can see up here how Brazil being #1, Indonesia, and how it's coming around here. The United States is not even listed on here.
We've been replanting forests and harvesting for many, many years in the United States.
The next slide I'm going to show you is an example of how they have done just that. Where you see all these carvings here is where they have replanted all of those trees. You can see that going out throughout the whole entire land there. So they've really done a number on protecting our planet, helping us protect our planet. This is a plantation where they've planted little seedlings and they've got the trees growing. And then there's another plantation there. So they're really stepping up to help us all. Columbia Wood Products uses a product called Pure Bond. That's the name of their product. Pure Bond is actually an adhesive manufactured from an enzyme that comes from a mussel shell. Mussel shells attached to ships, and they attached to rocks, and a scientist discovered that what they're using is a protein, and that protein was duplicated in a natural form and is now being used to glue our lumbers together.
Very healthy.
And because that's so healthy, and it's not necessary to use all of these formaldehyde products. This is what this company Columbia has done, and they're also using FSC certified products as well. The nice thing about this product is it hasn't changed the cost of the cabinetry at all. Now, if you want FSC certified doors and drawers and face frames, that's a different situation. There is a little bit more money that has to be invested in those particular types of products. But rest assured, it's for the world's best interest. And I think, like with anything else, those prices will start to come down. I think what's going to happen is that nobody's going to be making plywood out of formaldehyde very soon, because nobody's going to tolerate it anymore. This just kind of shows you the emission level of what Pure Bond is versus some of the other manufacturers throughout the world. And once again, everything in the light blue shows very little formaldehyde emissions out of these products. These charts are not really, these are charts are just to kind of show you, give you a general visualization of what you're looking at versus some of the ANSI standards of formaldehyde emissions in parts per million. Other types of boxes for cabinetry. First of all, there's a wheat board box, typically made out of frameless. Some people don't understand what wheat board is. What wheat board is manufactured of is the chaff of wheat farmers. What the wheat farmers used to do is take the old chaff and they would burn it, so that all these emissions would go back into the air, all the carbon from the burning. And instead, what they're doing is they're taking the chaff and they're selling it to lumber manufacturers. We're taking that chaff, we're grinding it up, and we're mixing it with low VOC or no VOC polymers and resins, and we're creating a particle board out of it. That particular type of particle board is just as strong, if not stronger, than MDF, holds screws real well, stays very square, and it's actually being used for some decorative applications also. So it's a real nice product. More and more cabinet manufacturers are working with that as well. It's moisture resistant, and it meets all the ANSI standards. Metal cabinets, another option that you can go with. Some people don't like metal cabinets, some people do, but there's obviously zero formaldehyde in metal. The nice thing about metal cabinets is that if you do get tired of them after 5, 10, 15, 20 years, you can rip them out, grind them down, and make metal cabinets again. So they're a very nice renewable product, what we call a sustainable product again. Some examples of what some steel kitchens look like. These are actually wood veneer doors, could be made out of bamboo, and then the drawer boxes themselves and the cases are made out of all steel. There's another one there, actually with stainless steel doors. Talking a little bit about cabinetry and the different wood species that are sustainable. Lyptus is actually short for eucalyptus. It's a wood that comes from a eucalyptus tree. The eucalyptus tree is a very fast-growing tree. It cuts very well. It looks a lot like mahogany. Here's an example of it right here that Scott's holding up. Eucalyptus can be used in flooring and for cabinetry and for countertops as well. So, and it's not any more expensive than any other type of lumber out there. There are very few cabinet manufacturers that feel comfortable working with Lyptus. One of ours does, and that's why I brought a door sample here to show you. Then there's bamboo. Everybody knows what bamboo is. Everybody knows that it's a grass. There are 1,600 different species of bamboo, and 65% of those species come from the Orient. There are only 3 of those species that are actually grown here in the United States right now, but that's going to increase over the next few years. Bamboo will grow in full form after it's been harvested in 3 to 4 years.
Very fast.
Very, very fast.
Like a weed.
So it's a great product. And then there's composite veneers. A composite veneer is actually a wood that is fabricated to make it look like an exotic veneer. Composite veneer wood comes from Africa, and it comes from a tree called the obeche tree. The obeche tree is taken and it's slivered, and then those products are, those veneers are taken to another country, they're dyed, and then they're manufactured into these exotic looking veneers. So you're not actually using real wenge. You're not using real zebra wood and real teak and real quartered Madagascar. You're using this obeche tree that also comes from an FSC certified forest. So it is a readily renewable product as well. Most trees take 50, 60 years to grow. The obeche tree takes 14 years to grow in its full height, and it grows about 100 feet high. It's a pretty big tree. Countertops. Talk a little bit about concrete. Concrete is a very sustainable product for a couple of different reasons. Number one, the cement that's used in it comes from lime and ash from the earth, so it's very readily available. Another great thing about concrete countertops is that you only use what you need. You don't have to cut down a whole tree, or I should say, you don't have to carve a whole mountain of granite. You know, when you buy granite slabs for your kitchens or bathrooms, you're buying a slab that's maybe 10 feet by 5 feet or 6 feet high, and there's a lot of waste from that. Well, with concrete, you don't have waste because you only use what you need. So that's a wonderful product to use for kitchens. Another thing about concrete is that when you get tired of it, if you want to pull it out and grind it down, you get concrete again. So it's a very sustainable product as well.
Recycled.
Another type of countertop, paper. People say, wow, paper countertops, that's just incredible. How can we make paper countertops? 2 companies, there's actually more now, but 2 companies that we work with called Richlight and Paperstone actually take pieces of paper that come from recycled products. One of them uses 100% recycled. They layer them together, and we'll pass these around. They layer them together, and then they glue them together with what they call a phenolic resin. So it actually is a formaldehyde-based product, but once they mix it with a chemical, it creates a chemical reaction which destroys the formaldehyde in it. So it dries very fast, and it creates a very hard surface. Here, I'll hand that to you. Comes in a variety of different colors, and as you can see here, you can fabricate anything out of it. It's waterproof, it's stain-proof, it's bacteria-proof. The one thing is that it's scratch resistant, but it's not scratch proof. So you will experience some wear and tear over it, which we call patina in our business, over a period of time. But it is very healthy, no off-gassing, and once again, this is a recyclable product too. So if you get tired of it, or if you want to remodel, or someone else buys a house and wants to tear it out, you can grind it down and make more countertops out of it.
As David said, it's made out of simple cardboard like this. Don't throw it away, recycle it. The vegetable boxes that have the wax coating on them that you see, that's what they make a lot of this product out of.
Alchemy. Alchemy is a product that's made from metal shavings. Once again, it's combined with phenolic resins, then they're ground down, polished, and you can make a lot of different, you can do a lot of different edge profiles. You can use this in many different applications. It's non-porous, and it's chemical-free. There's some examples of what the countertops can be, how they can be fabricated. You can do anything with it. It's similar to the way Corian works in that it's a man-made product.
See the scrap aluminum and steel that used to get thrown in landfills.
That's right. So now we can reuse it, bring it back to life. There's some, I'll hand this to you. Take a look at that. Metal slabs, aluminum cans. This is actually recycled aluminum cans. Isn't that great? That's just amazing. 100% recycled aluminum. You can make countertops, you can make sinks, you can make faucets, you can make tiles. This company, Elite, also manufactures hardware and lamps, lighting products, out of this recycled product. I have one on display in my showroom. It's quite amazing. It's a little pricey, but once again, what we're after is we're trying to use products that are not going back into our landfills. And once again, if you want to pull this off and you want to grind it down, you can melt it down and create more aluminum out of it if you get tired of it. So it's a great product to use for your homes. Fire clay tiles manufactured from 50% recycled material. Countertops, backsplashes, accent pieces. Oceanside glass tile. This is made with 100% recycled glass. I mean, wow, it's just incredible what you can do with recycled products today. When you're out shopping for things for your home renovation, I would look for things like this. Things that are not made from raw goods originally, but things that are made from recycled materials, because basically what's going to happen is the more products you purchase from these manufacturers, the more they're going to be able to pull from the garbage or the landfills or the people that are recycling them. If you're not purchasing them, then they're not going to make money, and they're not going to be able to purchase these garbage products that normally would go into the landfills. Enviroglass and ice stone. Here's another product that uses 100% recycled glass. It's mixed with a cement composite and porcelain, and we make countertops out of it. It looks a lot like terrazzo. I'm sure some of you are familiar with terrazzo. You probably have some shower bases made out of terrazzo. I know we have one. It's broke. We're going to replace it. But we have one. I'm sorry? I do not know about that.
I don't believe so.
I do not know that.
so, but
We were recently checking on it.
yeah, they could have been.
We have an active website.
They could have been bought by a company. A lot of these companies that you see today, because the green movement is so strong, they're being gobbled up, bought up by large companies, and sometimes the names change. Could be, could be. This is a product David was talking about earlier, and you can see some of the colors. Actually, the local gin mills, taverns, restaurants, they used to throw those glass bottles away. They have Blue Sky vodka. They use a recycled product. Budweiser, which I'm sure you've heard of, is in a lot of countertops today. Very, very popular. If you're very contemporary, they make an all blue, but they're using all this recycled product, as David touched on, and it's great to not go into landfills. So actually, they say there's a shortage of some of the colors from the bottles that they're having right now, and that's a good problem, shortage of garbage. Go ahead.
Yeah, right. That is a great product. Thanks, Scott. And the other thing to note, too, is some people are afraid of the cost of these particular types of products. I don't know how much that particular one is, but most of the cement products and the alchemy, and they all are in the same
Paper
price
stone.
point as granite. So you're not going to spend an arm and a leg extra for it. It might be a little bit more, a little bit less, depending on what color you pick, the edge profiles that you select, or what you're doing with it, if you're doing backsplashes or fancy edge treatments. But for the most part, I think it's worth investigating. Ecodomo leather tiles. This is another manufacturer of products that can be used on walls and on floors. It's made from 65% post-consumer recycled leather, which is pretty fun. Natural rubber and the acacia tree bark go together, and they manufacture these tiles. They're available in a wide variety of colors and styles. You can see right here all the colors. They come in different sizes and shapes, and are very, very strong. All right, appliances. We already touched a little bit on appliances. Scott was talking about refrigerators and dishwashers. Dishwashers using 1.5 gallons of water instead of 13 gallons of water like they used to. They're much more energy efficient than they used to be, using a lot less electricity. I know for a fact that the Miele dishwasher has soap, I'm sorry, not soap, but sensors, light sensors inside, which will determine how dirty your water is. So if it's too dirty, it'll kick the water out and bring some fresh water in. But if it's not going to introduce new water. So that makes it very, very energy efficient. Convection and microwave ovens. Microwave ovens use a lot less electricity than standard ovens do. I know people like the Browning. Well, and maybe get a microwave convection where you can cook a steak in half the time of a regular oven. It will save a ton of electricity. Induction cooktops. Induction cooktops basically is a sensor underneath a glass cooktop, or I should say a glass. It's called sarin glass, and this particular type of sensor changes the magnetic waves of a pan. It's trying to actually magnetize a pan. The pan is resisting the magnetic field, and it creates heat. So this induction cooktop uses no gas, uses very little electricity, and it's becoming very, very popular today in cooking. It actually will boil water in as little as 3 minutes.
Yeah, that's
much, much faster than your
put
typical.
a piece of paper under the pan, and you won't start the paper on fire.
That's right. That's very safe too. So you remove
have
the
little
pan.
children?
You remove the pan. You can put your hand right on the cooktop, and the only thing you'll feel is warmth from the pan. The cooktop itself does not get hot. It doesn't use any heat whatsoever. Great product. I'm actually considering, I'm not considering, we have changed our mind to go from a gas cooktop to an induction cooktop because of how much gas we spend. It's unbelievable. The amount of energy that we're going to save by using induction is going to be quite considerable. And some people say, oh, well, you know, gas, it heats up fast and I can turn it down fast. So does induction. You turn it up on high, boom, that pan starts boiling water instantly. You turn it off, it stops. I was quite amazed at a demonstration that I saw at one of the booths at the Kitchen and Bath Show here at McCormick just recently. Halogen and radiant element cooktops, once again, non-gas, uses halogen light to heat up your food rather than gas. So that's another option. Sarin glass, too, which I met with, I was going to bring some samples. Sarin glass by the Schott Corporation actually manufactures their glass using green technology. They used to have arsenic in their glass. As a matter of fact, they're the only company out there that makes glass for their cooktops, for people's cooktops, that don't have arsenic in it. So if it ever breaks or it needs to be destroyed, it can be reused, it can be melted down, and there's no arsenic in it, so it's very healthy to not only you, but it's healthy to the people that are manufacturing it and installing it. So we were talking about Energy Star qualification. It qualifies for tax credits. Scott will talk about that in just a second. SEER rating, seasonal energy efficiency ratio. The higher the rating, the less energy used. And this is one of my favorite factoids. If 1 in every 10 homes replace existing appliances with Energy Star qualified, it would save 600 million pounds of pollution. 600 million. pounds.
Yeah,
Amazing.
many of the old, as David just talked on, you think about that, you know, if your kitchen's 10, 12, 15 years or older, and you haven't changed your appliances, remember that refrigerator runs 24/7, 365 days a year. Your stove doesn't, your dishwasher doesn't, that refrigerator does. That's a huge, huge loss of energy. When you're sleeping, when you're on vacation, I don't know too many people that turn them off. You know, I mean, we have summer home, we do shut ours down, but you know, the home that you live in, that one unit, just think about how much energy it uses constantly. So to get a better SEER rating, as David just touched on, might cost a little more up front, but I will tell you, it'll last you much longer and it'll save you much more energy.
This is the residential energy credit. Scott, will you touch on this a little bit?
Next week, NEHB is who David and I both belong to, National Association of Home Builders and Remodelers out of Washington, D.C. We're an association of 250,000 builder members and remodelers across the nation, largest association of builders and remodelers in the United States. And we have a lobby group, as other organizations do, and we work for the betterment of housing and energy efficiencies. This is something that our government felt wasn't very useful, and it's sunsetting this year, and that simply means that it's not going to be available anymore. If you renovate your home, if you put new windows in, new furnace and air conditioning, skylights, there's differing requirements, insulation, appliances, and you prove to them, you get a tax credit. And I believe certain of the areas were $500, $600. So it wasn't giant, but it helps. As you say, it helps our country, it helps pollution, it helps these greenhouse gases and so on. So when it comes to that, they're not talking about in the election now, and I'm not going to get into political issues, but no matter who gets in office or who your congressmen or senators are, you know, I think you'd want to have these tax credits extended because it's for the betterment of our country. Because little incentives help people move forward with these things. We as a remodeling organization, in our 26 years in business, we try and give these to our clients and let them be aware of that. You're going to change your windows, and we'll show you some windows upcoming to a certain type product window. I recently renovated our house. David and Connie are going to renovating their house shortly, and we're going to use some of these energy efficient products. They do cost a little bit more, but if we have some incentives, we can utilize those better, and we can save energy for the entire nation.
Right.
So that's something that if you hear talked about locally and federally, this is a federal tax credit. You really want to push it. I think it's important.
Other types of materials that we can use for flooring: bamboo, cork, salvaged and recycled woods. Scott's got a whole bunch of samples over here that we're going to show you. We already went over bamboo. Why is cork great? Well, I'll show you that in just a minute. Eucalyptus, we talked a little bit about that. Natural linoleum. Linoleum is actually made from all natural products. I don't have any slides on the details of that, but a company called Marmoleum makes them out of flaxseed and resins, and it's just quite amazing how we can use this product, and it's once again, it's a sustainable product. Carpeting made from recycled natural materials, and the stained concrete, which I touched on a little bit earlier. Okay, so let's see. Some cabinets and some flooring made out of bamboo, so you can see what it looks like. Very nice. Cork flooring. Now, the cork flooring is actually manufactured from
Cork.
cork. Cork comes from the bark of an oak tree, and every 7 years it grows back.
Right.
So it's a very readily renewable resource. As a result of that, we can make a lot of different patterns, designs, profiles, and we can use it not only on floors, but we can use it for cabinetry, we can use it as inserts, we can use it as decorative pieces and tiles. It's quite amazing. So what's left over, what you saw in this previous slide, this is what the cork manufacturers, or I should say the wine manufacturers, how they cut it out, and then basically, I'm going to go back one slide, they throw this away into the landfills. Well, why throw it out? It's actually taken now and ground down by these by the flooring manufacturers, and they're making these tiles out of it. So we can use it for floors and walls and everything else.
Very durable, very healthy.
Salvage and recycled woods. These particular types of woods come from old falling apart barns and farms throughout the United States. So what manufacturers are doing is, instead of throwing those into the landfills, is they're pulling them out, they're grinding them down, sanding them, staining them, and reselling them so that we can put them back into our homes. What a great idea. It's all
Yeah,
reclaimed wood.
Yeah, why put it in a
And it's
garbage?
beautiful. We don't have to cut down a new tree for this. More examples of how the woods look inside the home. A lot of different design styles, whether contemporary or traditional. Eucalyptus, once again, there's a lot of different stain colors that you can use on the eucalyptus wood. There's a floor made out of natural eucalyptus. It's just stunning. Stained concrete, we touched a little bit about stained concrete on countertops, but we can also use it as a flooring base as well. If you're worried about how cold it is, then we can put a floor warming system under that and keep it nice and toasty. Stained concrete is really amazing. It can be designed in hundreds of different ways. You can add pigments to it. You can just, the sky's the limit. As available in this next slide, you can see how just by staining it, you can come up with some of your own original designs. Plumbing. Just real quickly over plumbing, we're talking about faucetry and showers for kitchens and baths. Essentially, low flow faucetry should be used in all of your showers and in the vanity faucets as well. Most of the government stepped in a while back, started creating low flow faucets for all the showers, so all your shower heads now have 1.5 to 2.5 gallons per minute of flow rate, whereas 20 years ago, or not even that long, probably 10 years ago, there were 5, 6, 7 gallon a minute flow rates. Well, once again, that's potable water that's being wasted. So having the flow rates adjusted saves a lot of water and a lot of energy. Hands-free use, too. You're probably familiar with that in some restaurants or the airport where you step up and you put your hands underneath and it kicks on and then you can wash your hands. Well, that's a great water saver. Companies like Kohler and Toto have also manufactured toilets that are flush-free, urinals, I should say, for the gentlemen. Believe it or not, it's actually quite ingenious. It works very well, and it uses 0 water. So can you imagine the amount of water? I mean, if at 1.6 gallons per flush, and well, man, I know when I started this presentation, I was talking about how many times I was planning on going to the bathroom today, but sometimes it doesn't always work out that way. So thinking about that, you'll save a ton of water.
As David said, the no water urinals are in the Museum of Science and Industry in our own city here in Chicago, where David and I have both been consulting. We've built an entire greenhouse that's going to be opening May 9th to the public, the home of the future Green and Wired, which has a lot of these products in there. And David has his cabinet line in there, and we were consultants on that also. It is built, it's produced, it's there, and it will be opening May 9th. I believe Ann said it may be open for 2 years now. They were talking about 1, but they're getting tremendous feedback by people. So there'll be 2 to 3 million people that will go through this home. You have to purchase an additional ticket. It's right outside the Robert Crown Theater. And it's pretty interesting if you get to see some of the principles that David and I are talking about already there.
Yeah, it is an amazing site. MSIChicago.com is the website, so please take a chance to peruse that site. Of course, shower with partner is always my favorite. Right, honey? That'll save you a lot
Saves
of
water.
too. Saves water. Whatever you can do to save water.
We're all adults
The
here.
Smart Flush and Dual Flush Toilet Technology, 1.1 gallons per flush. I'll show you that in just a second here. So, in essence, here's the Toto. There's other manufacturers that are manufacturing toilets and faucets that are much more efficient in terms of its water usage. But right here, I'm showing you this is called a Dual Flush. And basically what happens is by pushing this side, this is for the number 1 in essence, and this would be for the number 2, so the heavier flushes that you might need. This is 1.1 gallons per flush instead of 1.6. Well, think about it. You save a half a gallon to flush if you're only using it to for light use, and that's a real nice idea there, and it's taking off very well. Here's some examples of some hands-free faucets controlled by sensors, and like I said, there are other manufacturers that are doing this as well. LED lighting, light-emitting diode. I don't want to get into too much about this. I think the most important thing to understand is that LED lights are basically lights that are created through electrical passing through a diode. And the amount of light that it creates per watt is much greater than any other type of incandescent or even fluorescent light. They contain no mercury, and they last 35, they say 35 to 50,000 hours. They've actually been clocked at 60,000 hours. That equates to a roughly 20 to 25 years in your house. Not only are they being used for under cabinet lighting applications, but they're also being used as can lights. Now, a lot of people that are remodeling their houses put in your traditional incandescent can lights with the halogen lamp in it, very nice and very bright. Now, I don't have this connected, but this creates just as much, if not more light than a can light. Now, can you imagine putting this in your home and never having to change a bulb? Not only that, this uses a fraction of the electricity that any other type of incandescent lamp puts out today. Now, I remember reading something that by the year 2000, either 2012 or 2020, I can't remember what it was, that the government is going to eliminate all incandescent lighting in the United States.
Yeah,
So
Philips in
thank you,
general.
Thomas Edison. You were a very big help, but we no longer need your services. So keep that in mind. Now, these are a little pricey. These retail for probably $150 to $200 a piece, but the bottom line is the amount of energy use you're going to get out of it. Think of the amount of light bulbs you buy. These halogen lamps from Home Depot or Menards or whatever, they're $8 a piece. I change them out constantly in my house. So to not have to buy the lamps that it takes to do this is going to be a huge savings. Not only from not only do you save money from buying the lamp, but you're saving landfill, you're saving electricity. It's just a wonderful, wonderful product all in all. I really can't think of any other type of lighting I'd use in the house. And they don't contain mercury, which is fantastic. Compact fluorescent lamps contain mercury. Now, it's not that much, and it's really not dangerous to the environment, but any mercury is bad mercury. So there's a little bit of a controversy about how much mercury is in there and how dangerous it is. So if you don't use LED, then the compact fluorescents are cheaper, and they're still a lot better than the incandescent lamp itself. Just some examples of, this is the company that I was just talking about and that I just showed you. And the under cabinet task lighting I was showing you there. It comes in different colors. This particular one lasts up to 60,000 hours. That's a low Kelvin temperature. It's called 3500. So you get more of a nice warm glow. And the other one is a little bit of a higher Kelvin temperature called 6,000. And that's a little bit of a whiter light, creating more of a cool, I should say, a cool glow. You can see the two different colors there that Scott's holding.
Yes.
Do those lights get hot, you know, how, like,
Yes,
lights get very hot?
they are.
No.
No, they don't.
These do not. I mean, your typical under cabinet lights, as David was just talking about, your halogens or others, they get very warm. I mean, you can literally, if you had a plastic plate, you could melt it in the top of it. And again, that just shows you its energy use. These do not create heat. They're not a true bulb. They're a diode. And that's why they last so long, as David was just touching upon. There's some pros and cons. It takes a little longer for these to light up. No different if you put the compact fluorescents in your home. There's some issues with dimming. Dimming is an energy saver, but if you're taking a 75-watt bulb and putting in a 14-watt, 75-watt bulb, you've just saved 50-plus watts of energy. Because dimming systems for standard incandescent bulbs are another way to save energy using a dimming system. And we're not going to go totally into that today.
I was looking for something. I know I have another product. I think it's in one of the boxes, but it's a puck light, and that's also an LED lamp as well. So I think you were just talking about the puck lights. Yeah, the puck lights. They have their three small LEDs within the puck itself. And after the presentation, we'll pull it out of the box. I know.
But as he was asking the question, up until a year or two ago, because actually some of these have just come on the marketplace,
Right.
and they're being refined.
Right.
We were using a different product that was more of a high-energy product, and it did heat up quite a bit.
The halogens.
Right.
Right.
I mean, not enough to cause a fire or anything, but they did create additional heat. I mean, you could warm your kitchen with them if you left them
Well,
on.
it was enough to melt the chocolate chips in your cabinet. So
I can tell you that.
yeah.
Do you have to do special wiring with that? Or
No.
No,
Not
no
at all.
different.
They are low voltage, so there are transformers. Like the can light itself has its own transformer in it, and
This
it
is a
needs
transformer right there,
right.
the
That's
white.
a transformer. So these transformers basically can be remotely located somewhere in the kitchen or bathroom or wherever you're going to be using them. And we can put them on dimmer switches, low voltage dimmers as well. Yes?
Do you expect the transformer to burn out?
No, I don't expect it to, but it can.
Yeah,
Okay.
the transformers good.
No, not really.
Most of
Not-
the
not
LED
very
transformers that are out today are solid state,
Okay.
and you can get both types of transformers. Most of these systems, and as David and I have talked about, may cost you a little more up front, so you're getting a better product. And you look into that. A electronic ballast is much better transformer than a non, just like a fluorescent light. You can get both. And most companies are going to, and we believe within 10 years they won't be producing the old type because of just the poor energy use, and they don't last as long. If this lasts, as David said, 60,000 hours, and that's close to a lifetime, why put a transformer in that's not going to last? So they're thinking in that methodology for technology.
David, question.
Yes.
You expect, when more people are going the LED type of lighting, do you expect that the cost variance, which is pretty substantial right now, will change?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, we do. I mean, it's like any kind of R&D that people are trying to recuperate up front. There's so much money invested in creating these things, and then of course competition is going to draw the prices down quite rapidly as well.
I mean,
So-
plasma TVs, as we all learned about 10 years ago to, 5 years ago, 10 years to 5 years to today, they've gone down to a third of what they were.
Right.
Supply and demand in many of these products will David and I see it, and we'll touch upon some of that a little later, and then we can answer your questions after our presentation.
Yeah, I did a little price checking on this before I got the material here, and they are the under cabinet lights are significantly more expensive than a traditional under cabinet light fixture, probably to the tune of, well, compared to a fluorescent lamp, which is probably, I don't know, I guess you can buy a 2-footer for about $25. A 2-footer is probably close to $200 right now, plus
Right.
the transformer is extra. But like I said, this is a brand new product, and it's so high in demand, I can't even buy it. It's backlogged 3 to 6 months right now because everybody
Never change a
wants
bulb. You just put
Never
it in.
change a bulb.
You don't
and
touch
uses
it.
no
It's like having a car, you never change the oil. It's that incredible. So.
It is quite an amazing product. And that concludes my portion of it, and I know we're out of time, but Scott, you got a lot to go over.
I got to skip through here, so
We kind of bounced
anyone
around
wants
there.
to stay overnight, let's go back here. And I'll go through this fast, and we'll answer questions when we're done. We talked a little bit about the National Association of Home Builders earlier. NAHB is a Washington-based organization for builders and remodelers. If you need any more information, they've got a great website. We're going to give you that. But the NAHB ANSI Green Guidelines, Model Green Guidelines, which you've probably heard some about this LEEDS program throughout the news media. We have a similar program that we've produced. We've had it for 14 years. We just released it about 2 years ago. This is our guideline here. There are some guidelines in the back. You're welcome to take them with you, or we have a website. And the guidelines are built upon these ideals right here. This is if you're going to remodel, renovate, or build a new home. If you're going to be building a new home, obviously lot preparation and design so that we can do this, it's a lot easier than if you're remodeling or putting an addition on. I can't site an addition properly if you've already got the home there. North, south, east, west, and sunlight. We can put awnings, we can put shades and blinds, and we can control some of the solar gains and losses in windows when we do build additions and renovate homes. You're going to see some of that product come up. Every one of these products that you say, all right, can get you points that you use in here. Resource efficiency, David touched on. Consumer awareness, obviously, that's that book right there. We want you to know about it. We want you to know about the website. You can go to the website. It's like a TurboTax website. You put in, hey, I'm going to replace my windows with this type window or this type window, and it tells you how many points you get for green. There are some green mortgages and green refinancing out there that will give you a half to a quarter point less cost of your interest rates. And I firmly believe within 3 to 5 years that there may be a solid 1 point interest difference for a green mortgage if you have a green house because you're saving energy. Our government sees the responsibility in that. So that's going to be interesting to watch. I'm a voter for that, and I think all of our younger generation, our youngest is 18, they're all hip on voting for green, so they want this green stuff to happen. Water efficiency and conservation, we'll talk a little bit about that, and David touched quite a bit on that. Plumbing is a huge area. showers and bathrooms. Exterior conservation that we never thought about, watering your plants. You know, you go to Atlanta, Atlanta's got a terrible water shortage, a terrible shortage. Good friend of mine moved down there, and you'll see a little simple device that we have in our program that you can save water when it does rain, and quite a bit of water. Comfort, indoor environmental quality. Earlier, David talked a lot about these VOCs and things that you may be saying, what the heck is he talking about? You know, this jargon of VOCs, formaldehyde, outgassing. We're building our homes with such better efficiencies. They're much tighter envelopes. You know, it's like the picture of those Volkswagens that float in the water. That's how your houses are becoming when we remodel, renovate, and build them. We make them much tighter. Because they're much tighter, we control the air escaping and the air coming in, and we'll go over a little bit about that too. Operation, maintenance, and education. Obviously, there's no maintenance-free item out there. You have to change oil in a car, you have to change filters on a furnace. But we have products that will cost you less in the maintenance of them. They will last you longer, and that's important, okay? And we educate you on that through our booklet. All right, some of the building materials, and again, as David said, you know, he takes the whole show all the time. I-joist. This little guy right here is what you see I-Level Corporation. This is a cutaway. This is a floor joist. You've probably seen the solid pieces of wood that we talked about. These have been, this is nothing new. This comes in lengths up to 100 feet long. We don't use them that long in houses. Typically we use them anywhere from 20 to 30, sometimes a little longer. It's an engineered product, as you can see, and I'll pass it around. It's made with faster growth trees. We're reharvesting trees, as David touched on, some of them in 6 to 12 years, some of them in 12 to 18 years, whereas your old Douglas fir, if you've ever been out west in the forests in Oregon or California, could be 200-year-old trees that we're cutting down. We don't need to do that anymore. This is stronger than the strong Douglas fir tree, and it's a much better product. They also make beam systems. These are beams that support your whole homes. As you can see, there's some differing products. And David, if you want to pass these out there, you know, you can see every ounce of that tree is being used. We don't waste it anymore. And we used to carve these things away and just throw them away or put them in landfills, or, you know, we did sell them for animal beddings and so on, but everything's being used today. And the technology and engineering, that's an engineered wood product. David showed you engineered countertop products earlier, okay? Windows we're going to talk about. There's some great window products out there. Solar energy. Solar energy is a good product. In the state of Illinois, it's difficult to use solar energy to its best effect because of our sunlight coverage. If we had some tax credits for solar, it would bring the initial cost down. Solar is very pricey to put on, I won't kid you. Photovoltaic is very pricey. If we lived in Denver, if we lived in Montana, I'll tell you right now, go for it, go get it, because you know, you've got 338 days of sunlight. We don't have that, unfortunately, in Chicago. But there's certain ways, and we'll show you that you can utilize some of the solar energy in a less costly effect, in a much more effective area. Insulation, all right? We're going to show you some of the insulation products. Geothermal engineering, you may have heard of that. It's a way that we tap the Earth's temperatures and heat and cool houses. You know, recycled roofing products, David and I will show you, tankless and hybrid hot water heaters, high efficiency CFLs and LEDs that David went over with, and drywall and adhesives. Recycled products. Adhesive, you think of adhesive, you think of oils. You know, oil is petroleum. Petroleum outgasses. When you fill your tank, what does it say? Don't breathe this if you're this, that, or the other. Well, all the glues and solvents that we've used in our homes over the years have oil in them. Well, we're now making water-based products that don't outgas and are better for the environment. Much, much better. So, how do windows contribute to green homes? Again, energy efficiency, and it reduces the use of fossil fuels. A better window is very important to put in your home when you replace it. You know, many years ago we thought single pane glass with a few loose storms on there, that was great. Leak like crazy. They were not very good. You know, I remember Grandma's house, we'd all wear sweaters because we were freezing. The wind would fly right through it. Sound reduction, very important, and I'll show you some of the instances for that. Allows for natural light. Again, skylights, windows at the right openings, bathrooms, if we can shroud your windows so your neighbors aren't looking in and they're wide open, you got light in there. You wake up in the morning, you don't have to turn the light switch on. You don't have to use electricity. Electricity is expensive. Wood windows are very, very high recyclable and biodegradable material content. Effective window placement and design, as we talked about, you can get ventilation systems, high ceilings like this. If I put two skylights up there on a day that's 100 outside, I open those skylights up and the door out there, you're going to have flow of air going through here. You may not even need to use your air conditioning. Saves money. We particularly use a product called Pella windows. There's many good windows out there, okay? It just happens that that's a Pella window. Pella has blinds between the glass, laminated between the glass as an option. It's a very nice option. When you think about our firm built Illinois' first American Lung Association health house, and we don't want a dirty environment. Blinds and drapes get dirty, okay? I ask any of the ladies in the group. I don't know about the guys. We don't clean them. But when they're sealed into glass, A, it gives you a better thermal barrier. B, no dust mites, no little gooey things going around there. Many people will put draperies up still, but it's a very energy efficient way of doing it, and it allows, you can see, you can raise and lower. Natural lighting, the bottom shade up, features privacy and natural lighting. Again, you can have this one closed and this one all the way open, and you still have privacy in your bathroom, in your room, in your kitchen, and still bring natural light in so you don't have to use lighting. They exceed the Energy Star standards that we talked about, which would get you an energy tax credit. Also, when you exceed an Energy Star standard, it means you're saving electricity, gas, whatever you're using, propane. Most of it's natural gas here. And again, ventilation and privacy. There's that unit there. There's the blinds between. That's a cutaway of a window. If you took a window and sliced it in half. All right? Lowest U value, which equals the highest R value. It's confusing. Windows go opposite from like the appliances. Reduces an energy bill, as you can see, up to 28%. Glass is a huge energy loss area. If you took a thermal picture of a home, most of the biggest loss areas are your windows. So it pays to buy a better window. And many of the thermal pane windows today, they have, this is a triple pane window. A pane there, blinds, pane there, and a pane there. This is your most expensive window you can get, I will tell you right now. But it is a phenomenally quiet window right here, sound reduction. David and I, we built a home for a family, which is going to be on our remodeled Chicagoland tour of homes in 4 weeks, in Schaumburg, for a family that had 2 children with cerebral palsy. And they were very reactive to sound. Very reactive, and they had a hard time sleeping in their environment. So Pella Corporation came up and said, well, you know, this window is 80% noise reduction, you know, and I've used them a few times, but I never really realized the noise reduction. So we put the windows in there, and the family is ecstatic because their children can sleep well, and there's a relatively busy road not too far from their front yard. We talked about recycled content. Pella and many of the window corporations are using their products and recycling almost every ounce of what they use. The aluminum, they cut the aluminum for the outside, the shavings they reuse. You know, you see some of the product recycled in the countertops you saw. They melt it down and reuse it, you know, like your aluminum cans. So it's pretty cool. Again, third party FSC award, David talked about. 99% of the sawdust is recycled or reused. I said, why not 100%? He says, because we lose 1% when we try and move it. More than 95% of the aluminum sash cladding comes from aluminum, recycled aluminum. That's pretty cool. 20% of the glass is from a recycled source because they're making glass from sand and they make it new. When windows, a lot of recycled source. Sometimes you have sand pits and so on that used to be really cool years ago, bless you. And most people don't want to have that in their glass now. That's why they're not using totally recycled product. Again, at minimum 20% recycled product, and they're working on to get that better. Skylights, we talked about skylights a little bit. It brings in natural light. Look at that, physical and psychological well-being. You feel better with light, all right? And skylights, you don't have to worry too much about privacy, unless you're worried about birds or airplanes, and they can't see very well from there. The need for artificial light sources. You know, David and I look at jobs, and if we can place a skylight or a solar tube in a bathroom, on a cloudy day, even, if it's cloudy like today in the morning, I wake up at 5 o'clock, sun's up, or it's cloudy out there, I don't turn my lights on, because I have a couple skylights in there. A commode area, a closet area. I will tell you that 60–70% of the year, we don't turn our lights on in our house, in those areas. It saves electricity. It really does. Felix is a manufacturer. They're the largest manufacturer of skylights, and you'll see some of their samples coming up here. Very good product. But they use a tremendous amount of recycled materials, wood, glass, and aluminum. As David touched on here, okay, there was a $200 eligible just for using skylights. That's that energy tax credit we showed you before, which is going bye-bye. Hopefully we'll get it back. These are solar tubes I touched on. They look like a large can light. David showed you the LED can light before. These are tubes that look like a tunnel. They look like a snake. and light emits through it, and it reflects all the way down through a mirrored shaft. All right? I've got, I think we put about 8 of these in our house. We have a Cape Cod, and when we built this 30-plus years ago, we didn't think about a lot of these things. Well, we've had some dark areas. Hallways, we don't turn the lights on half the time in the hallways. Look at this. I mean, that's a partially sunny day, not a real sunny day. There's no light bulb in there. That's just natural. That's Mother Nature and the good Lord up there just giving us light. You know, take advantage of it if you can. It's not good for a bedroom if you're trying to sleep because you can't close them down. There's no blind system for them yet, where skylights do have blinds. But just think about what that does. No, no, nope, it dissipates through. Skylights, here we go, is, you know, VOCs, you'll see in one of our pictures. You open that up, that's opened a little bit there. Showers are a huge moisture area. Obviously, you should be using your fans. If you don't have a fan in many homes, if you have a window in the bathroom, you don't have to use fans. You don't have to put a fan in by code. Most of the time when it was our wonderful winter we had here, you're not going to open your window when it's 20 below zero and snowing. But when you can, that allows that moisture to dissipate and escape. Mold, mildew, moisture-laden air is very hard to temper, whether you're air conditioning it or heating it. Very difficult. Taxes your system. So not only do you get natural light, most of these skylights today are remote controlled. It's a low voltage system or a solar system, which you'll see. Stack effect, as you can see right here. See how you're bringing in air and letting the hot air rise out through a ceiling like this in this room or any vaulted or elevated ceiling areas in your home. You'd be amazed at how hot. Get up on a ladder in the summer if you don't have a skylight and just try and change a light bulb up there when it's 65 to 70 down here. It's 80 degrees up there. And all that tells you, and if you don't believe me, get up on a ladder and you'll see it. All that tells you is how much energy you're wasting because your air conditioner keeps going on to supplement that hot air up there. All right, so proper ventilation is a great method, and you get points for the green system with that too. Energy savings, as you can see, here's clear glass, low E laminated. You may have here windows and skylights. You can get low E glass. You can get low E argon filled glass. You can get low E argon filled, that window I showed you, with triple insulated glass, which is the highest efficiency. Tremendously much more efficient and much more quiet. All right, see right here. For each 4x4, that's 4 feet by 4 feet, skylight, it's a big skylight, using low E glass, they'll reduce cooling load by over 4,200 watts per day compared to a plastic skylight, those bubbles that you see that we rarely use anymore because they leak a lot and they're not very efficient, or a standard clear glass skylight or window. That's a lot. All right, ISO 14000 is a certification. And again, you see some of these certifications that keep these companies in line with energy efficiencies. FSC, which is the forestry. Not every country has that, but when they do have it, as David showed you, they're replanting, they're certifying it. That's a good thing. This is a good thing because, again, look at all it does. And Velix is one of the few corporations in the skylight industry that has that certification. They've had it for years. All right. There you see some more open skylights that work on a remote control. You can get them manually too. You can see this tintable glass. This is the same skylight that is here, same room with this tintable glass. It's electro tint. It's run by electricity, and now they've got a unit that runs by solar. Stores it in a battery. You press a button instead of putting a blind up or down. I have some of these in our home, and we have blind units because these just came out about a year and a half ago. And the blinds are great. They're a little noisy when they open and shut, but they do the trick when you want to cut down sunlight and you don't want the bright lights coming in. It's called Sage Glass. Velix Corporation has now come out. David and I were just talking about it. They have a unit that looks just like this. That's a solar hot water system. We talked about solar. And depending on how big your need is for hot water, if you need 100 gallons, I think each one of these is like 25 gallons, so you'd have to put 4 of them. But you can put your 2 skylights and 4 in the middle. I mean, it's pretty ingenious how and it looks just like a skylight. You wouldn't know that it was a solar system because I'm sure many of you have seen solar heating and systems on homes, and the old ones with the tubes and the popped up lenses, and they're not the most attractive things in the world. Well, we're starting to think about that, so they look better with your homes. And Velix has been all over this. In Europe, Velix is like Coca-Cola is to the United States. Every home has Velix. I mean, it's incredible. Again, solar-powered shade. You saw the tinting on the last one? That's a solar-powered shade. I sat in there. This little device right here collects the energy, has a small battery system in this area here, stores the energy, and you just press your remote control like I'm pressing this right here, opens and shuts. Velux windows, if it's open, there's rain sensors on every one. You go out walking, jogging, it starts to rain, they shut down automatically.
Great privacy, too, if you have a high-rise next to you.
Absolutely. Let's not get into that.
Hey, you never know.
Here, with an average, I just want you to see this because we've gotten out a lot of time here. With an average 8-mile-per-hour wind, your home could lose up to 30% of your R value. Air escaping in or escaping out. If it escapes in, it pushes stuff up through any of your weak spots. Recessed lights, attic hatch, which we'll go over, areas that aren't caulked or sealed, bathroom vents, all of this. That's why it's important to seal your home very well. And we didn't think about that years ago. As I talked about Grandma's house, it was great, man. It was, put your Afghan on and sit there and had the fireplace going and the wind would be blowing through, the candles would be going back and forth. Well, when you think about it, energy was very inexpensive then, so we really didn't care. But all that meant is your air in the house, your heated air or your cooled air, was flying out the other side of the house when it came in. So your furnaces kept going on and on and on and on, or air conditioning, a lot of energy wasted. We want to make these a tighter home, but we have to control the air once they are made tight. Closed cell foam insulation. That's this stuff right here. It's not a Frisbee. Closed cell foam insulation. It's your most expensive and your best insulative product on the marketplace right now. That is what's in refrigerators. It's very, very effective. As we talked about some of these products, they are very pricey. It's the highest R value, no mold, fire resistant, and very healthy product. It'll also give your home a 300% stronger wall system for racking in a storm or wind. 300% versus fiberglass. And as you can see, all this right here that we talked about, and we'll show you, no outgassing, no urea formaldehydes, no non-fibrous insulation. The norm in the industry over many years, and maybe in your homes, has been fiberglass. Fiberglass insulation. Here's some of the features of it. It's water blown, stays firmly in place, fire rating, right here. Prevents mold, fungi growth by controlling moisture and condensation. No VOCs, all those things that David talked about earlier. This is the big one you're going to see about this, that fiberglass cannot do. It seals every little nook and every little cranny. Thank you. All right. This is telling you, here's fiberglass. Okay? And you read some of these things. Emissions, CFCs, this is fiberglass, absorb water. Now, moisture, it is damaged by water, air barrier is required, perfect fit every time, not done. Formaldehyde is in some of the fiberglass, settling or sagging. Termites enjoy that, which we don't have a problem with that, it's bad here, although we do have some here. Sagging, so on and so forth, the testing, structurally sound, and in a 2x4 wall, that's what you get with fiberglass. Now you jump to that product I just passed out, I think it's got a little more checks there. There's another thing that's, that we have, this is open cell foam insulation. It's like a sponge. And then there is, anybody guess what this is? It's insulation. What do you think it's made out of? Your kids' old blue jeans. That's recycled blue jeans. Recycled blue jeans. Very healthy product. Again, think about it. We don't want to put things in landfills anymore. All right? Recycled blue jeans. Yes, sir. You're going to see that shortly.
We're going to see, you'll be seeing it.
There's how it goes in, okay? And I'm going to jump around. Understand something. This is a house that's not in Illinois because we don't allow Romex, which is wiring through the walls. We have conduit. You've probably seen those pipes that go through your walls. Pipes allow cold air in, cold air out, and it's very inefficient. Not when you use this system, it isn't. Fiberglass, it is. And we'll show you this. There's going to be a little video here if it doesn't act up.
Well, it'll play.
It's coming.
Hit it one more time.
It's a short minute and a half, but this is how it goes in, everyone. That's just a company out
What
of...
if you could reduce your utility bill by 50%? Live in a dust-free environment. Improve your indoor air quality.
You can lower the
And
size of your furnace and air
quieter home.
conditioner.
Welcome to the
your-
energy
relative to
efficiency
your home.
and comfort of C-Election 500 foam insulation.
There's
Our
many
home
brands
is
that
3,600
manufacture
square
this.
foot. It was the hottest August on record, and our utility bill was $106, and we're just thrilled.
The feedback that I give to my customers as a contractor is lower utility bills and quieter homes.
Foam insulation stops air leakage around air ducts, vents, exterior walls, and ceilings. It seals cracks around windows, doors, and electrical outlets. It also fills in gaps around plumbing and electrical wiring. It is environmentally safe with no toxic gases emitted and is 100% water blown.
I really like the foam insulation because it doesn't have any harmful chemicals like some of the other insulation, thereby that improves my in-home air quality.
Foam insulation creates an energy-efficient home that is not only dust-free and quiet, but also gives the homeowner improved indoor air quality.
We used foam insulation to soundproof the utility room, and now it's so quiet that she can sleep while I do laundry.
After experiencing a home with foam insulation, I don't know why anyone would want to use any other type of insulation.
C-Election 500 Insulation and Air Seal. For installers near you, call Demilec in Dallas.
And that's just one company that makes, there's, again, 5 to 7 years ago in Illinois, I don't know, I think we had one spray contractor. One. Wisconsin had 2. Today, we probably have 15. Has price gone down on this? Yes. Is it more costly than fiberglass? Absolutely. Fiberglass is still the norm in the nation, and I don't know why, because it's like putting a tire on your car that'll last 10,000 miles. I mean, it just, the benefits of it. It's a carcinogen. Again, as I said, we built Illinois' first American Lung Association health house. If you tell them you're going to put fiberglass in there, they go like, you ain't building a health house. So, and there's also recycled cellulose, which you've probably heard of. It's, again, another good product, too. The highest R value is this that we just showed you, the closed cell foam. Yes?
About remodeling after you spray it in, because it fills the cavities, and if you wanted to run another outlet, it looks like that would kind of be a problem.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, typically we run conduit in Illinois anyways, you know, in most of our areas. You can still cut it out. You just take a heat gun and you cut it out with a heat gun. I will say it's not as easy, and that's a good thing, because we want that to seal that cavity.
Yeah.
All right? There's not too many homes that we're remodeling that already have it in there, but if you're doing a job and you forget to put something in, and David and I have had that happen in kitchens, it's not the end of the world. It really isn't. It's not as easy as fiberglass, I will tell you that. It's a lot healthier.
What about, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Right there.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh. If you're redoing your windows, they take the windows out, can you spray this in the walls?
Absolutely. They sell it in a small can. You can get it at Home Depot, Menards, Lowe's, any of them. You just want non-expansive. That was expansive, which it expands, because if you spray the expansive in, your windows will bow in. I mean, there's a lot of things that people think they can do on their own, and there is. But some of these things you have to know what you're utilizing, because you can damage your window. I've seen windows snap, you know, because they bow them in. Yes, sir. Yes. It's a similar product. If you bought those cans and sprayed your walls, you'd probably spend 400% more than what they said in there. There's
Great stuff.
well, great stuff is in the
stuff.
cans. Great stuff
Yeah.
you can get is about Dow, I think.
That
They're-
expands.
They have
They
non-expansion.
have non-expanding, too.
Yeah, they have non-expanding.
That's as environmentally friendly as we're talking about.
Yeah, you look at the can, it'll tell you if there's VOCs or not. All right, I don't believe, this there isn't, I can tell you that right now. All right, and it's water blown. Sometimes, the cans themselves, I don't know what the propellant is in the cans.
Right.
Because we use all a big system and the big trucks that come in and do it. So you'd have to check the can themselves. They may be being blown by butane or something, but I'm not sure of that. I can't guarantee you that. But it's a similar product. It's just we're using it in big drums and a big system with a big spray gun, okay? Again, reduced uncontrolled air leakage, recycled content, minimum debris and waste, long-term performance. Stuff lasts forever, I'm telling you. All right, here's another item that you're gonna, it's called an attic tent, just short, real short video.
And start to save on your energy bills year-round. Your attic draws costing energy.
Attic stairs or attic scout, think about that.
Airtight barrier against hot or cold air loss. It also stops insulation particles from falling into the home. Best of all, the attic tent's unique design allows simple installation, easy access, and maximum efficiency. So measure your attic stairs and order today. It's just 10 minutes to savings with the attic tent.
It's a thermal blanket that you put over your attic scuttle or your attic stairs. Understand that one picture, anything that elevates through openings in your home is a heat loss. And it's an energy efficient no-no. You don't want that. And trust me, I could put a 2-inch hole up here and you can go up there and you're going to lose your, even air, heat rises, cold stays low. You're going to have cold in the summer and heat in the winter flying through there because it all goes against the opposite direction. Heat seeks cold, cold seeks heat. The product that we just showed you is a unique product. It's just a blanket. You can put it in yourself. I think they're about $175, the attic tent they call them. And you'd probably pay for that in one heating season or less than a heating season. I can assure you that. And our guys put them in about 20 minutes on average. It's got Velcro and it's got a zipper that goes around it. It's space age insulation, and it's just a tent that goes over your scuttle or your stairs, so it doesn't allow that heat to escape. It's, a simple little product like David and I have been talking about. It seals tight because you still have to have a scuttle to get up there. Echo Slate, Echo Star, Echo Shake. David has them. This is a product that's a completely recycled shingle. This is made out of not used baby diapers. This is made out of when they make those plastic diapers that we make billions of in the nation, in the world. They punch out the areas for legs or whatever it is, and that typically would go into a landfill. Well, they take them, they grind them up because it's mostly a plastic content, and they add color pigment to it, and they make this. It's a shingle. It's like a slate shingle. 60-year warranty. Mildew, mold resistant. If you want it. Yes, it's a little pricier as we talked on, but it's going to last you 60 years. Some shingles out there are 20, some 30, some 40. There actually are actual shingles that are 60-year now too. This is like a slate-like shingle. They used to take that waste and throw it in a trash dump, in a dump. Solid color throughout, as it said, UV protected, 100% recycled material. There it is right there, and there's many colors that they have. It's more of a high-end shingle, this one. There are other mid-range shingles that are recycled products. Okay, here's a great little product that they're starting to sell in most garden centers and in most, I believe, Home Depot, Lowe's, and Menards that we've never utilized probably in, I could say 5 years ago, no one even heard of these things. They're saying, are you crazy? And they make them a little more attractive. We bury them. The Museum of Science and Industry, the entire garage is a cistern where we store rainwater. But read what this says right here. I just want you to, read that last line. A good formula to remember. 1 inch of rain on a 1,000 square foot roof yields 623 gallons of water. I can wager to bet you your roofs are bigger than 1,000 square feet. If you're in a home that's 1,500 square feet, your roof's going to be bigger. All right? Just think of that right there. Okay? And there's differing systems that take sediment out of them. Very simple. You could put this in your house in probably about 10 minutes to a half an hour. You can water your plants with that. You don't have to turn the hose on. You don't have to take precious water, and we can reuse it. So it's a very, very interesting product, and they're coming out with all different kinds and designs of those, something that David and I. Okay, we'll end it up right here. Obviously, green team, David and I, green team. He's in the black suit, I'm in the green. You can call us. Those are our office numbers. You can see right up here, I just want to touch on this CKD, GMB, CGR, CGP, and CAPS. Those are continuing education designations that David and I get. It's important that you should look for people that have those designations. When you go in a doctor's office, you see continuing education. I sure think that you want your doctor to be up on today's technology. At least I do. I know I've had 2 spinal fusions, and I like the guys that know what they're doing. GMB simply stands for Graduate Master Builder. You can't get that unless you've been in the business 10 years. Certified Graduate Remodeler, Certified Green Professional, and a Certified Aging in Place Specialist. And David, tell them about your CKD.
Certified Kitchen Designer, as I spoke earlier, done by the National Kitchen and Bath Association, and being a new member of the NAHB, right. I'm going to be taking these CGB classes very soon.
He's going to be there. So, and it's continuing education. You have to continue your education every 3 years for every one of these certifications here. So you have to take additional classes. And it keeps you sharp, it keeps your business sense, better. It lets you understand new products, new procedures, new safety concerns, new federal laws that are out there. So we take pride in that. And I think whenever you select a remodeler or a kitchen designer, such as David or myself, you should look at that. That's important, that someone takes the time out of their schedule to do that, and can take the time out of their schedule. Home Builders Association of Greater Chicago, acronym HBAGC, and the Remodelers, which is part of HBAGC. David and I belong to that organization. It's the largest builders association in the state of Illinois. They are chartered by NAHB. You have to be part of NAHB. And their main office is located in Addison. The website is there. National Kitchen and Bath Association, which David's very influential in that and goes to a lot of those meetings, a lot of educational meetings. They just had a big show in Chicago.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
fantastic
huge show, huh?
About, I believe there were 4,000 vendors.
Yeah.
And they opened it up, they expanded, should they say, they expanded it to their other new sections. So now there were 3 sections, north, south, and west.
Lakeside, whatever they call it.
They're all over the place.
McCormick Place.
It was just incredible. 60, I think upwards towards 60,000 people go through that every single year. So it's quite incredible. And it's not just what's national. We get vendors from all over the world, from Japan and China and Italy and France and
Europe,
Germany. All over the world come and attend this, and not only attend, but put their booths up there. So they have ongoing continuing education classes for the certified kitchen designers, certified bathroom designers, and master designers as well.
Right. And NAHB has a convention which is the world's largest it was in Orlando last year. NAHB Model Green Home Guidelines, okay? You can see them on this website, or you can pick up one of the green guidelines. I think I brought about 8 or 10 of them over there. You're more than welcome to take one with you.
Yeah, that's this book right here. This
right.
This is available in a PDF format, and it's free to download.
Mm-hmm. If you don't like to carry the book home. And they have attend a local Building Green conference. We do have local conferences. We do have local shows. David and I do these seminars. We do Remodeling 101 seminars, which teaches you all about the pros and cons of remodeling from start to finish, not just on green like we're talking today. David and I have spoken other avenues and other venues. NAHB does a show. It's the world's largest construction trade show. It gets about 150,000 attendees. It is large. You can't even walk the floor in like 2 or 3 days. There's only 3 cities that can contain the space. One is Chicago, one is Vegas, and one is Orlando, and we've been to that. I've been there 26 years and spoke there and given classes. And that's where we can get continuing education. That's where we see new products that come aboard. That's where we see new marketing people. We see the corporations explain to David and I, here's our new product. It's green, and here's the reasons why. David and Scott, can you try it? Can you look at it? Can you critique it? And that's what we do quite a bit. USGBC, U.S. Green Building Council is another very good resource. And I believe American Institute of Architects. Here's some things that I'm sure that you've heard a little bit about that David and I put up there. Hybrids, which our families have 2 of them. My mother drives a Prius. Tell them what you drive.
We have the Highlander, the Toyota Highlander. Gets about 21 to 24 miles a gallon. It was a little bit higher when we first bought it.
45.
Yeah, the Prius is much better, but it's an SUV.
Yeah, no, I mean, seriously, it's...
But it's better than
flex
14,
fuel, whatever you
12
can
to
do, even a
14.
flex fuel system, the computerized 4 to 8s, our automobile industry, and I'm not going to plug automobiles, I don't want to get into that. We have a long way to go. Housing is vastly beyond where our automobiles are. We got it, they're getting it. Drink your own filtered water. You've heard a lot about the plastic bottles. I don't care. We all recycle them. I mean, we have 4 kids still at home, and I'm going to tell you, when I open that recycling bin, there's a lot of bottles in there. And we have the water cooler and the filtration system, and we've screaming at them constantly. Just, reuse them a few times, because use a glass. You know, they just don't know that technology yet, you know.
We have a reverse osmosis water filtration system in our house, and every time we drink a bottle of Gatorade, we take that bottle, it's a very thick, strong plastic, and we stick it in the dishwasher, and then we refill it with our RO water every day. So we never buy water. We don't need to. And our filters last about 2 to 3 years. So the filters are about
big thing.
$100, $150 for the
Right.
filters, but it's a lot better than taking all those plastic bottles and throwing them into the landfill.
Yeah, you're going to hear a lot more about plastic bottles, I guarantee you, in the next year or
Yep,
two. The
that's
pros and the
coming up.
cons and specific types.
Yeah.
As we've always talked about, and you're seeing, not just you, but major manufacturers, all of us, recycle constantly. You know, David and I go into many houses, and David says, you know, Scott, we're taking these cabinets down, and sometimes we look at them and we say, well, other than they're dated, they're beautiful. So we used to just throw them in a landfill. Well, Habitat takes a lot of our product. That's what I said, deconstruct. We take it down, we bring it to a restore. There's one in Elgin, there's one, I believe, in Gurnee.
That's right,
And
Restore.
they'll give you a tax write-off if you need one or if you don't want one. And they're going to sell those cabinets to someone for pennies, but they're not going to go in a landfill. There's someone that has a need. Even the appliances, granted, we can recycle the appliances, and we can recycle a lot of this. But if we get a job where we used to just go in there and just rip everything out, and I'll be telling you, 10 years ago, that's all we did. Tear them all out, throw them away in the dump, and we started to get smart about this, and there's someone that needs that product, that has more of a need than we do. And some of them are putting them in garages, some are putting them in, a home that they can't afford brand new cabinets. They'll take your countertops, you'll take your hardware. You'd be surprised what they'll take from us, and they do. Sleep mode, all your computers. Sleep mode is an important, all the electronics that we have in our homes today, because we're a spoiled society somewhat, we like to press the button and they go on real fast. And you all think, wow, it's solid state, they're all sleeping. And I'll tell you, I have a vacation home, and when we leave, other than the refrigerator that we typically can leave on, the electric meter keeps going. And we turned off the refrigerator once. I'm going, why does it keep going? Because the VCR is going. It's off, but it's going. Everything is drawing current, not just your clocks and everything else. And it's hard to go around and shut you have to pull the plugs out on every VCR, or you can invest in one of these guys everywhere you have all that stuff and shut them off, which is just another simple method. Or you can invest in some of the new lighting systems that David and I have looked at that they're remote controlled outlets. You can, let's say it's where your electronics are. You put one of these remote controlled outlets and you can program it in your computer. Very inexpensive. Midnight, Monday through Friday, it shuts off. 5 o'clock in the morning, it turns it back on. I can guarantee you're going to save electricity. You don't even think about that sleeping mode. Microwaves. We've got a microwave in the basement for the kids for popcorn. Well, bologna. That thing's always on. If you've got an extra refrigerator, a lot of us have these garage refrigerators or basement refrigerators, and they're like 10, 12. The old refrigerator, throw it down there. That thing is just sucking up electricity. I mean, you're better off buying a brand new one and put it in there for an extra refrigerator because you use half the electricity you'll pay for that refrigerator off in 2 years. Think about those things because the old refrigerators are hugely inefficient. And again, as I said, 24/7, they're running. So sleep mode is important. Turn things off and go into a sleep mode, yes, you'll save probably 50 to 60% of the energy, maybe 70%, but they do stay on. That's why they go on real fast. So if you are going out of town for a long period of time, it's worthwhile to unplug those things or put them on a strip if you don't want to go into an outlet like that, a system. Very important, and it can save energy, and quite a bit of energy. Your thermostat, if you've got a very old thermostat, even the new efficient thermostats, they're much more precise in what they do. You can turn them up and down, you can recycle them where they'll, obviously they had 7-day thermostats, as we all know, that we can't figure out. Well, today they've got some great ones that are very simple to program. Appliances, effectively, don't run your dishwasher, whether it's a new one or an old one with 3 plates in it. I know I keep telling the kids this too, and we have this struggle at times. Laundry, again, some of that is a fallacy. If you've got an older laundry system, as David touched on, it's going to use the 13 or 15 gallons of water with 1 sock in there, 1 pair of blue jeans. All right? The new systems have sensors. They're more money. They're much more efficient. You'll see the front loads that reverse and spin. The more water they spin out of that, the less dryer time you have. And believe me, that's a lot of energy. The older units don't spin. They usually are a single spin, one directional spin. New units spin both ways. They draw the water out. Put it in the dryer, they're less moisture, less drying time. Energy effective. Turn off the lights. Gosh, I heard Mom and Dad talk about that before there was an energy crisis, and I still tell it to the kids. If you've got kids, grandkids, or someone, and there's certain rooms they stay in, hallways, put a sensor, a simple sensor. You can buy them for $7.95. You walk in the room, the lights go on. There's no action, no movement in the room, the lights go off. You know, if that's an issue. In your garage, if you forget to keep turning the light on or off or whatever it is, put a sensor in there. Very simple. 2 wires, hook them in. So simply just as David and I have tried to talk about is, you know, adopt a new way of green thinking. You know, we can all do that. Get involved. You know, if you remodel or renovate your home or kitchen or bath, or your neighbors are doing it, if they need information, guide them to us. Whether we do the work or not, we can guide them to places where they can see things. Again, build and remodel using green products. Great websites. We're done. Great websites. And we touched on those, so you can get that resource there. NEHB is, again, who David and I belong to, NKBA. Two very, very good. Green Building Magazine is one of our NEHB members, started that magazine. It's a great magazine to the trades. And question and answer.
Q&A.
You're probably going to say, well, when do we go to sleep? And yes, in the back.
We're planning on doing an addition, and we already have a basement. We really don't need another basement, but one of the things we'd like to do is put solar panels on, or photocell shingles, and we want to store. So my thinking is, I need a basement to have the storage for the electricity. Is that something that you agree with, or?
It depends on what you have in your main basement. I can only tell you that what he's talking about is photovoltaics. The storage center, you see that piano right there? If you stood that upright, most of the units today are about that size. Depending on how much we can generate on your roof, the system, we would get the storage panel and the converter panel, which converts it back into electricity, and hopefully you can sell back to ComEd and make them pay you. Right here in Illinois, again, I'm not going to candy coat it for you. It's going to be tough to get total payback like you would if you were in Denver. I could tell you right now they'd be paying you for your electricity. Here, unless we have an extremely sunny year, which could happen, and the cost of the photovoltaic system and the converter, inverter, and everything sometimes becomes cost prohibitive, but it's a great thing. I mean, God bless you. I'd love you to do it. Geothermal is another area that is a great system, but it's right now very pricey. And there's websites, you probably have investigated it, but you'd be surprised how small the equipment is today. It's like your mechanical systems. You know, David and I used to have to build a room for the furnace room, and now it's like in a closet because they're much more effective and much more efficient.
Wouldn't you say that the photovoltaics are probably about $25,000 to $50,000 per house?
Again, it depends on, what he's looking for. You know what I mean? If he's looking for just some supplemental power in the house and storage systems, it depends on, again, your roof pitch. As we talked, I think, earlier to someone in here, if your roof is a 12-12 like a church steeple, that has, again, different sunlight reception than a 4-12 that's spread out.
We do have a 412.
Yeah, so you get better reception,
Right.
obviously, and better coverage,
Right.
and it's easier to install.
In the addition, I want to do 1,000 square feet, so.
Yeah. I mean, again, there's a lot of websites for, you can put in solar, you can put in voltaics, and again, the good old websites will guide you through some of these things, and I would say look into a few of them. That's what we do, because we don't put a lot of systems like that in here. The call for it until they do a large tax credit. Denver, Colorado gave them like I think a 60% tax credit because they were smart. They don't want to have to keep producing electricity, give you a credit up front. So the systems went way down in cost there versus here where you're not getting much of a credit. I mean, lobby for it. Push these guys for this stuff. This is important. I really think it is for all of us. I don't own a solar company by any means, but for electric generation, for heating of water or preheating of water, it's a very viable system. But, yes, sir.
Do you see people using attic fans when they cool homes down, or is that bigger problem there than other times?
Understand, if you look at that envelope that David and I showed you, and you're going to probably, attic fans have literally nothing to do with your house. This is a fallacy. Ventilation and roofs, exterior ventilation, there's two concepts right now. Zero ventilation or massive ventilation. The ventilation codes were made in the early 40s and 50s. They're so antiquated. Those were, remember the houses I talked about, Grandma's house that leaked? All this stuff leaking? They would help then. If your house is enveloped properly, you should not be leaking cold or hot up or down. Okay, so if you have the proper insulation, and attics are simple. If you want to overblow an R40 or an R42 in your attic, you know, get a 1.5 insulation. It's inexpensive to do that. That's going to control your environment below and above. I know you're probably saying, well, that's not what every roofer told me, but truly, we build multi-million-dollar homes, and we don't, ventilation, I've got homes with no ventilation in it. Nothing wrong with them. The biggest critique for ventilation today is your shingle system. Some of the shingle requirements require ventilation to move some of that air so you don't bake your shingles. Shingles can curl and lose their longevity of life. Most of them are recycled content product and they don't require that, but that would be my only concern today about ventilation. Someone else asked me about solar ventilation. They do have a solar ventilating system that is made by Solar Tube, the company you saw at those solar tubes. It's not going to hurt, I'll tell you right now, but in certain instances, if your house envelope, think about it, if you're not letting heat escape through there or heat come in or vice versa cold, you shouldn't have to have your attic ventilated other than possibly your shingling system is required. I don't know if I didn't probably confuse you even more, but
What I was thinking more about is venting the house through the attic, opening the windows and blowing air up to the house.
you're talking about an attic fan that blows up like what you see. We did put some of those in years ago. A lot of our clients from out west say, oh, we have these in our house and they're the greatest things. I said, well, do you get frost in the winter? No. Now they have them where they have doors that close up that are insulated. I can only tell you that I've probably got, we've been building for 26 years, probably 4 or 5 of them that we put in maybe 20 plus years ago. And I know that 2 or 3 of them are clients to live in the house and they've ripped them out, or one of them had us ripped, they rusted. They had a lot of moisture issues. It's a wicking area where air is going to travel through. In the early days, we would build boxes for them. Tell them you got to put the box over them in the wintertime. Well, most people didn't. So, I mean, there are some better products out there. It can help. I will tell you that I would look more into a ventilated skylight window system so that you can bring it up through that and close it down through that. It'd probably be a little more beneficial to you. If your skylight is your highest point, it will draw all that the hot air will seek that point, trust me. So that, I mean, if you can do that, that's probably more beneficial. Did you have a question?
Yeah. One of the things I've seen on TV was on a green program, which station, but anyway, they were taking the rainwater from the gutter, and rather than doing the rain barrels, they were taking it and using it as gray water and running it through a filtration like a cistern, like you were kind of elaborating to in the museum.
Right.
And but they're doing this in houses now.
Well, there's a, I'm not going to disagree with what you said in the principle of it. It's called gray water use, non-potable and potable water, all right? And I believe, you and I discussed this a few times too, there are a few states that are allowing that. It's a very fine line. It's great for the ecology. The State of Illinois Health Department and Plumbing Association has got some valid concerns. They are worried about that water getting into children drinking it, adults drinking it. I've heard tell us what's going to happen to my dog when they drink the water out of the toilet. You know, I mean, it happens. That's an issue because it's not purely, I mean, even if it's from your sink and you're just brushing your teeth and stuff, you can use that to flush your toilets. And it's called gray water use. Disney's been doing it. Walt Disney is one of my guru mentors. I love what he's done and his corporation, and they did that at Disney World. They reuse and water a lot of the areas with it, but you'll notice that there's signage up and they don't allow animals and certain things because it's not totally purified water that they're using, and that's reuse of gray water. They're looking at the piping system for that being maybe a different color and a different type. I can tell you that there's a lot of talk about it right now, and I think it's a valid point, just how to use it. The museum, don't take me wrong, that is more for rain distribution for watering of plants. The roof is a green roof at the museum. Mayor Daley loves green roofs, and it's a green roof, which simply is little planters, little, you know, recycled planter systems, and there's different brands, and depending on your climate, they plant these little seedlings in there, you know, and they grow. For our environment, you have to have, obviously, freeze-thaw. If you're in Phoenix, you have to have low water and high sun, you know, for these flat roofs. It takes a different roof system. Most of our homes in Illinois are, you know, you're more of your pitch roofs. So photovoltaics and other products like that work in a pitch roof, a flat roof, unless you lay them up on the roof. Mayor Daley is working with the green roof at the museum. So they're using that with a very efficient pump to water all those systems and drip irrigation. It's not for gray water use because that's not allowed in Chicago. So.
We saw a lot of them in Europe.
Absolutely, absolutely. Smart people over there. That's where Velix is. You know, I mean, they've been utilizing the sunlight for energy for many years. They've been utilizing recycling in many efforts for many, many years. I hate to say it, they're all doing a pretty good job with vehicles right now, and we're catching up to them.
And they're also one of the most primary, I should say, designers and creators of appliances in America that are the most energy efficient. Not Sub-Zero necessarily, but companies like Miele that create dishware, that manufacture, have created and manufactured dishwashers and washing machines and dryers that are so incredibly energy efficient that our American manufacturers haven't really been able to figure out the engineering behind it, whereas the Europeans really focus on energy conservation. So I think we're lagging a little bit behind that, but we're listening and we're catching up to it.
We're catching up. I mean, you know, most of our appliance companies are doing a tremendous job compared to just 5 years ago.
Right.
Most of our products, as you've seen today, you know, we've tried not to confuse anyone here, and we're obviously here to answer your questions, but David and I are hit with new products, and you can imagine what you go through, probably once a week. You know, and then we have customers asking us about some of these products and wanting us to put them in their homes, and you know, we like to understand. We warranty homes. You know, our firm gives a 2-year warranty. We want to know what we can stand behind it. You know, and some of these companies are newer, so you have to do some legwork and some investigation. You want it to be healthy, obviously. Indoor environment, and I'll just leave you with this. We've talked a lot about environment, okay? David talked a lot about these differing products, outgassing and not outgassing, and glues and solvents and VOCs and so on and so forth. This stuff is, if you do have it in your house, we've done house renovations where we put brand new windows, skinned the entire house with new siding, new insulation either in the attic, and you've had a healthy house. Maybe you have a dirt crawl space, let's say, which is some homes do still have those, and no vapor barrier down there. And that house now becomes a sick house. All right? Well, this is something that now you have to worry about because you're making it a very energy efficient home, but you have to control the indoor environment. And we have ways of doing that, so don't get nervous about it. But the tighter your home is when you're talking about an envelope, the more efficient you can control it. And with that, I think we're done. Thank you
have some
very
cards
much.
on the table. Thank you.
There's some cards over there, right,
There's
David?
some cards on the table if you're interested in getting a copy of the seminar today. And also, if you want to leave your website or your email on that, then we can send you some additional information as it comes up to us.
Thank you.